Hi, everyone. B-Man here. Say hi to my partner, Barko.
Hey guys, what's happening? Barko here.
So we wanted to talk a little bit today about what's in the news. And what's been in the news lately is that the rates are coming down. We hate to lead off with the rates, but we're getting lots of phone calls asking us, is it time to refinance? Is it a good time to buy a house? Well, the 10-year Treasury note went below 4% on Friday, and it's trading a little under 4 and a little over 4 today. I bring that up because that 10-year Treasury note is a key component of mortgage rates. Well, mortgage rates have dropped. 5.99 was the national average, and it's hovering right around 6%. That's for the top tier borrower. Barko will explain what a top tier borrower is later. So all the experts are predicting that the rates are going to stay around 6% this year. We're optimistic. We're hoping for a little less. We'd like to see the mid fives. So some of our clients that are at 6.5 could take advantage of a refinance. But clearly, if you're in the high sixes or more, you should be looking at refinancing right now with these rates hovering around 6%. And it's not even a bad idea to maybe buy a point or a half a point and buy the rate down. Because if the experts are predicting the rates are going to be steady at 6%, well, why not buy your rate down to 5.5 or less if you can? And a year from now, the rate may still be at 6 and you'll be below market. And then in 2 or 3 years, hopefully you get some substantial savings with a much lower interest rate. But so that's where we are today. And Barko and I have been fielding lots of phone calls, people wanting to refinance and or asking us if now's a good time to buy. And the answer is yes and yes.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. One of the things that I wanted to show and let you guys go into, hopefully I can zoom this in a little bit. But I want to show you a little bit. The point number 2 is really how the average is actually calculated. That 5.99% that B-Man mentioned. It only takes into account conventional loans, right? It doesn't take into account refinances. It doesn't take into account any government loans, any jumbo loans. All right. So when that national average is no, and great, we're super happy that rates are trending in that direction. But note that when that average is announced, it really only encompasses conventional loans. And what that part of it is I wanted to show you is really there's a couple things and different factors that really take into account, right? It's going to be your credit score. All right. That does play a role. Your debt to income plays a factor, but also loan to value. How much you put down is going to impact what your rate is as well. So there's a lot of things called teaser rates as well. And they talk about paying points and, hey, you're going to get X amount. That's why I want to show you guys here. I'll pull this back up. But when you're looking at paying points, right here in section A is where that is. This is a sample of 2%, which is kind of ridiculous. But when you're shopping and looking at rates, the way you can compare lenders side by side is really section A here. And that's what really tells the difference. A lot of stuff is going to be very, very similar on any other loan estimate. Section A, paying points, your origination or processing fees, things like that. And as V-Man said, maybe your situation does call for you to make sense for the pay points. Maybe it doesn't, but at least you got to have that conversation with your loan advisor because that's really what we're here to do and present all of those options to you. So that way you can make the best educated decision for yourself. How did I do, man?
You did great. Cool. I have a question, and I'm going to ask it because maybe someone on the outside has it. How come a condominium rate is a little higher than a single-family home rate?
Yeah, thanks. I did leave that out. Well, it was a liability. Condos are always rated higher, about 3/4 of a point higher, no matter what. It's not like Chicago specific. That's all around. So condos are different than single-family homes. So thanks for reminding me on that. That's why your 5.99% probably, if you're buying a condo, is not going to be a 5.99%. So all of that stuff really does play a role, but that's why you have that conversation, get you that baseline starting point, and then make adjustments accordingly.
Perfect.
All right, point number 3, V-Man, what we got?
Well, I just wanted to talk about a couple new products we have. We have a new physician's loan. It's for doctors. Doctors are a unique field because a lot of these kids graduate from med school and they have huge debt behind them. And these doctors' loans, they kind of look the other way on that debt because they know they're going to start their career out with a big salary. And they even have incentives. They have no PMI, private mortgage insurance, low down payments, and you could get a pre-approval on your offer sheet, your offer letter. So even if you're not starting for a month or two, you could still get pre-approved to buy a home based on that offer letter with that nice salary and even with all that debt you're carrying. So we have a really nice new physicians loan doctors program.
Yeah.
And then something that just came out for everyone recently was the IHDA credit. And the credit is now up to $15,000. Now you have to be qualified and there's some stipulations and it's too much to talk about now, but you can reach out to Barko or myself and we can explain it to you. It's a big deal because prior to this, that credit was maybe $3,000, $5,000, maybe $7,500. Now it's up to 6% of the loan, maxed at $15,000. That's pretty good for someone who doesn't have that cash laying around to make that down payment. So those are two things we got cooking now: is the IHDA credit for up to $15,000 and the doctor's loan program. Those are two hot products right now.
Yeah. And just a couple notes on that IHDA program. Like it's cash that if you're going to stay in a house in that property for a number of years and you pay it off later, like, it's going to apply towards your cash close. So that is helpful. And it is Illinois only. We may have an Indiana product coming shortly. And then just note for the doctor loans, I know I'm only licensed in a couple states. V-Man's licensed in a couple states, but A&M's licensed in 25 different states. So if you're catching this, reach out. We can point you in the direction of our loan officer here at A&M that can help you in that specific state. So keep that in mind too when you guys are picking this up all around the country. All right, V-Man, one last thing before we get going here. We got a big game coming up in a few weeks. You want to talk a little bit about
Are we playing football again?
All right. Hey, thanks for going up to 8A's for us to get our 7A championship. All right. We're all winners in football.
That's right.
So that's what I love. And it was really, it was a cool weekend at the gala this weekend with the boys and showing off the trophies. So, and I know you guys got your stuff coming up as well. But we've got a fun little, this is going to be cool. Tell us a little bit about what we've got cooking in April.
Well, I mean, it's hot off the press. Mount Carmel, my alma mater, is playing Brother Rice, Barko's alma mater, in baseball at Wrigley Field. The Cubs play the afternoon game against the Phillies at 1:20. And then at 5 p.m., they got two of the great Catholic League high school baseball teams playing against each other. It's going to be a great day. I think I might have to take the whole day off and see the Cubs game and the Mount Carmel Rice game. But I'll always have my cell phone with me, so if you need me, I'll answer any call, text, or email. But yeah, we're playing high school baseball at Wrigley Field. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be such an exciting time for those boys. A lot of times only like the all-star games get to play in fields like that. So for every kid, both teams being able to get out there, walk on the field, be in the dugout, all that good stuff. And for the families to be able to share. I believe you can go buy the tickets from each school. I think they're $50 to get your tickets to the Cubs game. And then the Rice Carmel game starts at 5 or like 45 minutes or so after the end of the Cubs-Phillies game. So it'll be a day-long affair. I'm sure a lot of the Southsiders will be out in full force, and it should be April 23rd. It's a Thursday. It's the date. So it should be a fun day. And the fact that I live across the street from Wrigley, it's going to be even more fun.
Party at Barko's house.
Yeah, there's going to be a good time. Please let us know if you're coming, but it's cool for the boys and for us to be able to have this rivalry and kind of how we connected. Man, we could be here all day talking about our love for our schools.
There's a Mount Carmel grad who's the hitting coach for the Cubs, John Mallee. He was actually the hitting coach when they won the World Series, and he went out to California with Joe Madden for a couple of years, but he's been back now. So we got a Carmel guy as the hitting coach for the Chicago Cubs right now.
I believe it. I love it, dude. So
good stuff.
Well, we're right around the season's right around the corner. We're less than, we're about 3.5 weeks away. So exciting times here. And right after this, Bonnema will be joining us. And today's guest, Bonnema. Colin's former student Crusader, who's in the real estate, is an agent with Kale Realty. Has been very active in investment properties. Has one going on right now that he's going to tell us a little bit about. So, Collins, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. So looking forward to the conversation, Mike and Brian. But yeah, love real estate. Originally got into real estate when I was 25. So I went to UIC, and I didn't want to waste money on renting, things like that. So I lived in my dad's basement until I could afford to buy my first 2-flat. And then once I got that first rent payment from a tenant, I just fell in love, loved the business. And since that day, I just tried to grow it. Over the years, I've tried different things, but I've kind of learned that you take what the market gives you. So late last year, I saw an opportunity in the southwest suburbs. It looked like a great opportunity to flip a house. So I'm a strong believer in the three rules of real estate: location, location, location. So if you are going to take on a project that involves a lot of risk, you just want to make sure that there's an appetite in the market to actually purchase that property once you flip it. I've helped folks in the past where, they want to get into flipping because, it's a sexy part of real estate, but they don't do their homework and they end up, could potentially lose a lot. So you just want to make sure you get in a good area and do your numbers and make sure that you always have a buffer set aside if something goes wrong.
Love that. And you mentioned Southwest suburbs, kind of, Mike, we're both familiar of why that area specifically. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing?
Yeah. I mean, there's really good margin. The home stock is fairly, new. And so you have a lot of builds in the 70s and 80s. And so those homes have strong bones. And I like to call it, putting the lipstick on a pig. And so you don't have to do a major renovation. So if you look in like the Beverly area or some parts of Chicago, you have a lot of inventory that's from like the late 1800s. So you could see some very extensive costs. A lot of those homes have, lead piping, original cast iron, which could be a very big upfront cost if you don't know what you're doing.
And for first timers, if someone who's trying to get into this, kind of resources that they could start out, anything that podcasts or sites or groups that you might recommend?
Yeah, when I was going to start, I was a big fan of BiggerPockets. That's where I learned a lot. But I would just find somebody, you relate with and you feel that's upfront and honest. It seems like today there's a lot of folks trying to sell you things. In real estate, I don't always think it's the best information, but I'd find somebody you trust, or you always, try to hire me as your agent. I've been through a lot of battles throughout real estate. And I enjoy coaching people through the process.
Okay, good to know. So you are taking that on. That's great to know.
With all of your experience, you should start your own classes like this Andrew Holmes guy. I have a couple realtor friends that are a member of Andrew Holmes's group, and they teach you everything. And they have a lot of builders and contractors and people involved that they know and trust, and they share them with each other. But it all starts with someone like you who's done it from the ground floor and been successful at it.
Yeah, when I was a younger guy getting started, I went to a few of his speeches. I always connected through Home Depot as well. So I was actually there, like picking up stuff from Home Depot, and then somebody was using his name to get a discount. Well, I saw that guy talk before, so it's interesting that you brought that up.
Well, yeah, I got a couple of guys who go there. I hear it's expensive though. It's not inexpensive. It's expensive to join.
Yeah, but I think there's perks. And actually, the last flip that I did, the agent said that she was one of that was also viewing the property. So she looked at the property after me and I was still there. And she said she was actually a member of Andrews, but she was saying that there's certain benefits that they get through that network for whatever reason that helps her on her path as well.
And so when it comes to things that you mentioned, lead pipes or some of the older, aspects of the home itself, but when it comes to people looking to potentially flip, what are some things that they need to also be aware of when they start opening up walls and what could potentially be behind them?
Well, I would just go into it knowing that there's going to be a lot of unknowns. Like no flip is going to go perfect. Things are going to go wrong, so you're just going to have to persevere through that. You're only going to spend so much time in the property, and it's going to take years to identify things. So I feel when things go wrong, that's when you learn. And hopefully you learn from those mistakes, but no one's going to know what they don't know. Like, for example, I bought a rental condo before, many years ago, and my inspector did not go in the crawl space. That was a very big mistake. There was a rogue pipe that was disconnected for years. So you had years of like sewage going straight into a crawl space. But unless you have those battles, you're not going to know that. So anytime now, even though there's cobwebs all over the place, I'm getting on my hands and knees and I'm going through that crawl space. Unfortunately, I've been through a lot of ugly crawl spaces now over the years.
So that, and the inspector probably didn't get hired again too.
No, well, I've used the same firm. So like he asked me if I wanted him to go down there, to be honest, to give him a little bit credit. But since it was like a rental, I'm like, well, the association, should be doing their due diligence. Maybe it's not that big of an issue, but that was too much wishful thinking.
And that's funny because usually those inspectors, they overdo it. They scare the crap out of you and they over inspect and tell you things that are wrong and they're really not that wrong. It's just normal general maintenance of a home.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I've had a few inspectors kill deals, and it seems like each one kind of keens in on different areas of the house. Depending on the inspector, you really never know what you're going to get, which isn't too fun on the sell side.
When it comes to opportunities, what's on the horizon for you now that any other neighborhoods or markets or types
So,
of properties that you see some opportunities?
so I mean, I like flipping, you know, is a sexy part of real estate, but to build long-term wealth in real estate, I believe you need to buy and hold, and you have to get rentals in attractive areas. So I have a modest rental portfolio in the UIC area. So I want to continue to build upon that. I have dabbled in rentals in other parts of Chicago, but UIC with the student demand has been the best for what I'm looking for. So I want to continue to grow in that area. The unfortunate part, it just takes a lot of capital to buy rentals there. There's an older stock of like I'd say like 6 unit buildings, but they need some extensive rehab. Like my previous example, a lot of them were built in the early 1900s. There's some newer builds there, but you're going to have to pay a very big premium to acquire some of those.
I think it's cool that we have that university right here in Chicago, because I knew guys whose kids went to Illinois State, Northern Illinois, U of I, and they bought homes there for their kids to live, and then they kept them and rented them out over and over again over the years.
It's great. I mean, students are just looking for somewhere to lay their head. And if you rent to graduate students, they usually take care of the place really well, and that they get a job in Chicago. You know, I've rented to people in medical school, and they become doctors, and then they end up actually living there for like 10 years. So yeah, it's actually a cool process, and you see kind of people grow within their journey as well.
Well, I love it from my standpoint. Well, I know you as a student and watching you grow similarly, man, and just crushing it. So
Yes,
it's really cool to see, man.
yeah. Back in the day, Barko was the cool teacher. I was unfortunate. I wanted to have him as a teacher, but I wasn't lucky enough to be in his class. But all of my fellow students at Rice, they would just be, "Oh man, I'm in Barko's class. It's so cool." But it's great that kind of real estate brought us together later in life. Developed the friendships.
It's funny.
There's two great things that I know you went to Carmel, Mike, but two great things: Brother Rice and real estate.
Well, when Barko and I met, and the people at the office heard us talk and engage, we were like two peas in a pod. We would go out, and we would both know dozens of people in both places, and it was unbelievable. I mean, he's me and I'm him, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it's a great thing about the Catholic League. There's that huge rivalry when you're in high school, but after high school, I mean, it's kind of like you all went to high school together anyways. You're all hanging out on the weekends, but I think it just develops a great culture, and then definitely great for business after high school. And when you're walking the halls in high school, you don't really appreciate that, or maybe foresee that in the future. But it's a great opportunity to send your sons there.
Yeah, totally agree. I love it, and it's an instant connection for sure. So I'm glad we're able to continue this as we go on. And one other topic I want to touch on is my favorite little nerd thing. But it really tells me a lot about you, Collins, is that you had a problem with you not wanting to spend money on demolition and try to make a resource for yourself. And you bought this Kai truck that had some unique, and I'm going to share this if I can a little bit of what this looks like from your screen. If you want to follow Collins, please do on YouTube. But you'll see here this truck that he ended up picking up. Can you tell us a little bit about this and the uniqueness of how you got this over and why it was important? Like, I think this is a really cool part of this.
Yeah, so I actually imported it from Japan. So it's a 1996 Daihatsu Hijet. So I'm a big Toyota guy. Love Toyota quality. Also have a pretty old Toyota Sequoia, but I was just getting killed on dumpsters. So the flip prior to this, there was some unseen like landscaping and other things. So I had to use a lot of dumpsters, and I was done with dumpsters because I filled the entire dumpster up. I had all this landscaping material. I'm like, hey, it's a dumpster. You just throw it in there. So when the guy came to pick it up, he's like, it weighs too much. I'm like, what do you mean it weighs too much? He's like, I can't take it. I'm going to have to bring another dumpster. I'm going to get charged for that dumpster. And you're going to have to haul half of it out of the dumpster into the other dumpster. So I had to move about 5,000 pounds of debris twice. Then the whole ordeal, I got hit with about $10,000 in dumpsters. So I think I was like, there has to be a better way. So I was kind of researching, what's reliable, but like pickup trucks and things like that. They're so expensive right now. And now there's a big cult following on K trucks on YouTube. Like, yeah, this looks pretty cool. So yeah, I imported a 1996 Daihatsu Hijet from Japan. I thought it was going to be pretty fast. I thought it was going to be like Amazon. It would be here overnight. So it took about actually 3 months to then receive it. So I got it in the start of January, but I've been so busy with everything, I haven't gotten to register it yet. But I have driven it. I brought it to the car wash just because it was on a big cargo ship, so it was covered in salt. So when I got it, it was very salty. So then I had to take it to get washed at the car wash. And then I pull in there, and there's this young kid that like kind of hoses off the car before it like goes through the machine. So he instantly just like started laughing his ass off. So I'm like, all right, I think I might have something here. So at least I think it'll be a good conversation starter. I have 2 young sons. They're pretty obsessed with it. Just want to sit in there all day. But they did a shoddy paint job, so I need to get it repainted. And since it is so small, it's a little nerve wracking driving on the road with like very big trucks and like semi trucks. So I'm gonna have to get past that and try to maybe make it seem a little bit safer. I don't know if you can fully safe proof it since it was built in 1996.
So it takes the place of a dumpster, and then you use it and go dump it yourself and bring it back?
Yeah, you could dump it yourself. And actually, the bed is just as big as like a Ford F-150. Just the footprint is a lot smaller, and believe it or not, it gets about 40 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
There you go, Mike.
Cool.
Just getting it delivered right there.
But the thing that's intense, like your foot, there's just like a piece of sheet metal between like your foot and the road. So it's not like American cars where you have like a big engine between you and if you get in an accident. So that I think that's just, I'm going to be a big learning curve. And then the wheels on the other side. So it's right-hand drive versus left-hand drive.
Cool. Different.
I love it. Well, I think it really it calls to your creativity and you trying to solve problems and you doing the work to be able to give it a shot, right? Maybe this isn't the end all solution, but it's something different that you're like, hey, there's got to be a better way. Let me go try this, even though the hoops you wanted to jump to. So I think that says a lot about who you are and
Yeah, I studied mechanical engineering after school. I worked for a truck, bus, and engine manufacturer. So it kind of feeds my appetite there. It's good bonding experience, get your young kids interested in cars too.
That's fun to hear. Well, Colin, thanks for joining us this week on the podcast. And we really appreciate the opportunity. And if anyone is out and about looking to get in the investment, looking for a realtor, and you're trying to get in your investment properties and see what might be a fit, Collins is a great person to resource to reach out to. We'll make sure we link his contact information and YouTube page and socials in our description.
All right, Barko, V-Man, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to talking to you guys in the future.